you combine also like your knowledge that you have of different industries, for example, let's say clothing, for example, um, your knowledge with applied art into the watches. So when it comes to the bracelet of the Tonda, when it comes like how it has to be made so it's comfortable, and I can say without a BS, it's like the most comfortable bracelet of all the watches I have. On the other hand, with the Tori collection, with the Nabu Glazer, there's a certain kind of stitching, punto mano. So, and you were talking about uniform, about clothing, how it was uniform, um, like like the suit, how it was uniform, coming from the Industrial Revolution, how black and white colors, that fascinates me personally, because on the one hand, it's very interesting to know. On the other hand, how this knowledge get respected, on the other hand, into the watchmaking, and especially in Parmigiani. And I would like to like elaborate, like from your side, like 2 sentences into that. I know that you repeat yourself, you said this before, but in this context of this interview, I find this very interesting and very important to know.
Well, you're touching the why of things, no? Because at the end, when you come into a new brand and you see the urgency of doing something to reset the brand into a trajectory, a strategic trajectory, and we chose the sport chic segment, which is the most versatile watch you have. You wear it in every occasion, so a metal integrated metal bracelet was the priority. An integrated metal bracelet is, from a creative standpoint, already a constraint because the body of the watch is monochromatic. You have the case that ends naturally into the bracelet, and you can play with finishings, you can play with certain decoration, the Myrtle Bezel, which is an aesthetic code of the brand. You play with the finishing of the dial, which is another aesthetic code of the brand. But your playground is quite defined, you know? So when you attack the other big segment, which is the dress watch, it is very much more complicated. And we said, I always say, you don't need another watch in the market, there are plenty. So if you have to launch one, it's important that you have something to say. And what we wanted to say with a dress watch done in the way that you see in the Toric is a contemporary elegance that respects the craft and the beauty of the tradition of watchmaking, but it is something that you wear in an elegant manner in today's world. So today's world is different from the 1920s, is different from the 1950s, is different from the year 2000s, where it was almost a rejection of wearing well, no, because streetswear became a way of dressing that was a sort of quartz crisis for menswear, if you want. And now people are rediscovering the beauty of sartorialism, the beauty of making your own clothes with tailors, etc. No? And where the colors are much more informal because you're not anymore in a strict domain, which is a dogma of elegance. No, a tuxedo is something you have an etiquette you have to follow. And on a tuxedo, you shouldn't be wearing a metal bracelet. You should be wearing a watch which is very fitting in this austerity of the black and white dinner attire or tuxedo or smoking as you wish. And then when the informal way of being elegant moves forward in the 50s and the 60s, you start dressing in blue and brown, and you start seeing dials that are fitting this outfit. Now blue dials of the 50s, think of the altiplanos, the patrimonis, the very formal watches, but that abandon the black and white of the tuxedo with also alligator brown straps. But that was the maximum twist that you could give. No? Now, today's world is much more complex in the sense that you have less rules to wear well, but that doesn't mean that you have to be compromising on the quality of the fabric, on the way that a trouser is made or a jacket is made. and the colors are much more serene, much more how do you say, you play a little bit more with your life, and it's less severe than in the last century. So we decided to rewrite the codes on the wrist, abandoning that conservatism that comes from a Puritan way of looking at elegance. The Brits are Puritans. The Calvinists in Geneva, where the watch industry is also very strict, very understated. And to bring into a little bit of serenity in the colors, but keeping that finishing that is extremely refined, with some details like the stitching that you mentioned. Those are small reference to masculine vanity, if you want, without being loud. No, you don't even notice them, but you know that they're there. No, the little bezel is another example. This beautiful brushed dial, which is handmade, gives you a texture that is not invasive to the reading, but it is something that gives you a sense of quality, of your die, not just looking at the plain die. It seems plain, but it's not. So this subtleness of finishings that are uh, interesting, that gives you a reflection of the light that makes the watch live. These are all things that build an allure that is not for everyone, because a lot of people don't notice these details. But we are serving an elite in terms of elegance and in terms of gentlemen who are able to be sensitive to those details. And so if they see it, we're happy.